So this is a quick paper 1 question that Tom Cadby sent me that he couldn't quite get to the right answer. The question is, which of the 4 metals, W, X, Y or Z, is the most reactive out of these, based on the information given on this table? So they're kind of made up elements. So it's worth remembering that elements that are more reactive will displace unreactive ones. In other words, metals that are reactive like to go from being metals to compounds or to salts. In other words, they get oxidized easily. Metals that are unreactive, say like silver or gold, like being the element, and they would go, given half a chance, from the ion, from the compound to the element. Okay, so more reactive elements will displace less reactive elements from a compound. So you can use this table to figure this out. So W must be less reactive than X, because W doesn't displace X from the reaction. So W is less reactive than X, so W isn't the answer. W is also less reactive than Y. So W is less reactive than X and Y, and it's also less reactive than Z. That's what that first row is telling us. That's all we can get from that. So W is probably the least reactive, but it's asking us for the most reactive. So that's probably the red herring that it was wanting you to think about. X does react with W, so that confirms that X is more reactive than W, which we knew anyway. X does react with Y+, which displaces Y+ from a compound, so X is more reactive than Y. So X is looking like most reactive out of X and Y and W, but X does not displace Z from a compound, which means that Z must be more reactive than W. Right, so Z's more reactive than W, which we know is more reactive than X and Y, so Z must be the answer, which Tom has marked here as the right answer on there. Hope that was useful. Feel free to send in more. Cheers.